Today is the day. Game 1, NBA Finals 2026. Your Spurs versus the New York Knicks. Welcome back to another episode of Spurs In Focus right here on YouTube, YouTube Music, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts. Pick a platform. We are there wherever you get your favorite podcast. And of course, the Substack, completely free, Spurs In Focus Substack. Google it, sign up right now, be part of the crew. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, longtime Spurs writer in San Antonio. And thank you for making Spurs In Focus your first and only spot for all things San Antonio Spurs. Seriously, this should be your first spot every single time, every single day you want to talk Spurs, especially now, because it's the freaking NBA Finals. They tip off tonight. Game 1 in San Antonio. Your Spurs, New York Knicks, battle of 1999 all over again. And we're going to get you started. Yeah, we're going to preview Game 1 today. We're looking at a lot of topics. You know, it's the finals, right? So we got to go a little bit of an extra mile for you guys. We got, what issues do the Knicks present this Spurs team? Are there any? Are the Spurs going to steamroll them? You know, do we take stock in the regular season? You know, the Knicks did have a winning record versus the Spurs if you include the Cup game. Other topics we're going to be discussing: key matchups, who not named Brunson should the Spurs worry about, so much more. It's all on deck on this episode of Spurs in Focus. And of course, it is the big game, right? So we got to bring in a big guy, not literally because he's a big dude, but because he's big in stature and legendary around those parts. Look who's back, everybody. Mr. Rudy Kopp of the Sports Answer. He is on X at the Sports Answer. I see your cap is backwards. Are you channeling Lincoln Hawk from Over the Top? Is you ready to go to battle versus the Knicks?
I guess you could consider that. Maybe I am doing my inner Lincoln Hawk here, Over the Top, where isn't it you turn on a switch, you go from front to back, so it turns on a switch.
Yeah.
No, I haven't had a haircut in probably like 3 months, so it's probably best if I don't.
Shaggy.
Yeah, I'm going with the Castaway look right now. So,
Castaway look.
but hey, no need to fear. I will get a haircut this week for sure. I already contacted my barber and everything. So,
you know, I gotta get one too. I definitely gotta get one. I don't let mine go out for about more than 2 weeks, but I'm pushing really 3 weeks, and my hair can grow like fast.
Yeah, my hair is bad. It's bad.
Literally barbershop talk is over. Yeah. So let's get to it, everybody. I know you guys want to talk about Game 1 Spurs Knicks NBA Finals. It is here tonight at the Frost. Things will get going. Things will be popping. Hopefully the Spurs will get the W. Let's start things off. It's kind of like a big question here, Rudy. We're gonna ask ourselves: do the Knicks? Well, do they present problems for the Spurs?
Absolutely, they do. I mean, when you come to better defensive teams, especially towards the end of the year, the New York Knicks pose a huge problem. Not only do they have a guy like Karl Anthony Towns who can take Vic outside of the paint where he's so comfortable on the defensive side, obviously with the league leader in blocks, but Karl Anthony Towns is probably one, and some consider the best three-point or shooting big man of all time. So he presents a whole lot of problems. Mitchell Robinson has that pinky issue that he did have surgery on, but he's supposed to play. He's another person that can give a lot of problems to Victor Wembanyama. But not only that, Jeff, I mean, a lot of people talked about OKC's guards. Well, you saw what Victor was able to do with Caruso in the paint, you know, some of their guards as well. The Knicks guards, Josh Hart, I mean, a lot of these guys are going to be a little bit better defenders than what OKC provided. OG Anunoby's that one guy you want to watch when it comes to the New York Knicks on guarding Victor Wembanyama. So, OJ's a very strong player. They have a lot of different looks they can give San Antonio on the defensive side. Yes, if anybody feels that they're not going to be a problem for San Antonio, I beg to differ on that. They're going to provide a bigger problem than what OKC did. And not only that, they're on a massive 11-game winning streak heading into the NBA Finals. They just demolished every single team after Atlanta. So, yeah, it's going to be a problem for the Knicks for defensively for the Spurs, but also offensively. Jalen Brunson's on a terrific tear right now through the playoffs. Probably one, if not the best player in the playoffs right now. So he's been able to show that he can score on San Antonio, even when Victor's guarding him. He's able to get around him. He's able to shoot over him. Jalen Brunson is a very crafty scorer. If he gets going early, it's going to be a tough matchup for San Antonio. So I'm interested to see more on the coaching side. Mitch made some great adjustments against OKC and especially against Minnesota as well. But Mike Brown, I mean, he's kind of went from possibly being fired from New York after what, a
Right.
year, to now, I mean, he can go anywhere in New York and eat for free, basically getting him to the
Basically.
finals. Mike Brown is a very underrated coach, and it's going to be interesting to see the coaching battle here in this NBA Finals matchup.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you went to the player specific focus right now when it comes to the Knicks. I'm gonna take a kind of a bigger overview on some areas where the Spurs might have some issues versus the Knicks. So I'm gonna put it on the screen here, everybody.
Sure.
There we go. I do full screen so everybody can see these numbers a little better here. So I put some numbers here, and you can see the Knicks do have a scoring and efficiency edge over the Spurs. They're a plus 4.6 points per game in the playoffs. Now, mind you, these numbers are in the playoffs for the Knicks run and the Spurs run. Excuse me, everybody. So the Knicks are putting up at least 4.6 points more than the Spurs in their run. And they can shoot the ball well. Look at that. They're a plus 4.6 field goal percentage better when it comes to shooting efficiency versus your San Antonio Spurs. Ball movement. I was surprised by this one. In the playoffs, the Knicks are number one in assist, and they got a plus 1.6 edge over the Spurs when it comes to moving the ball. Now, why do I bring that up? Because it's the little things that matter. Who shoots with more efficiency? Who has better ball movement? Who finds the player with the better shot? In this case, the Knicks have a slight edge over the Spurs. Now, again, not to say the Spurs don't have an edge. You can see it on your screen. Rebounding, Spurs got the Knicks there. They have a plus 2.2 rebounding edge. And obviously Victor there, so that's kind of obvious. That's why they have the rim protection there, so duh. But moving on, free throw attack. Yeah, you see it on your screen. The Spurs are better at attacking the paint and getting to the free throw line. But we're sticking with the focus on those Knicks. Rudy, your reaction to seeing that the Knicks score better, shoot better with a better efficiency, and have better ball movement than the Spurs throughout their playoff run.
I'm not surprised by it at all, to be honest with you. I mean, the Knicks, their ball movement is, I mean, it's been, and really relatively lately, it's been
Yeah.
so precise and so great, man. The focus has always been on Brunson, but you started to see another player emerge as that ball started moving, and that's Mikal Bridges. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's been having a great
Yeah.
postseason for the New York Knicks and been a different, almost, left on an island during the regular season. In the playoffs, he's actually playing really, really well, and that's because of the ball movement. Everybody's
Sure.
focused on Jalen Brunson, and the other thing you got to remember too is Mike Brown put Karl Anthony Towns in a different position. Now he's more of a facilitator as a center, so he's able to get passes off to Brunson, to Bridges, to Anunoby. He's getting a lot more eyes on him, and because more eyes are on Karl Anthony Towns, and you got to worry about his jump shot, that a lot of these other guys are coming off screens or getting easy baskets. So the ball movement for the Knicks doesn't surprise me. San
Mm-hmm.
Antonio did a really good job as well. But there are a lot of times that they can be complacent and they can just be kind of stagnant, and that ball just kind of stays in one spot, whether it be with Stephon Castle or
Right.
so yeah, edge for that for the Knicks as well. The other one, I don't remember could you put that graphic back?
Yeah, I'll put it back there for you. Yeah. There you
As
go.
far as okay, scoring and efficiency. Yeah, I mean, the Knicks have been taking care of the ball, and that's the one thing that I do like about New York in this matchup is that they can score it well. They've been able to just dominate Cleveland
Yeah.
and Toronto. I mean, they really put the pedal to the metal when it comes to scoring the ball. Now, for granted, Cleveland's not as good of a defensive team, or Toronto as good of a defensive team as San Antonio. I don't expect them to put high gaudy numbers that they have been
Yeah.
blowing out San Antonio the way that they have it in the Eastern Conference, and that's because the Spurs are way better defensively. So I think out of the two, Jeff, the scoring part and the efficiency might be the one that is going to take a tumble against San Antonio,
Yeah, I think so.
because they are the better, they are one of the best
Mhm.
defensive teams in the league. So not surprised at the ball movement. I think that's what's gonna save the Knicks in a lot of these games is their ball movement.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing why the Knicks just present a problem to the Spurs, and it's simple. They're healthy. The
Mhm.
Spurs have not taken on a team that's been healthy in their playoff run. We know what happened with the Thunder.
Yeah.
J Dub, AJ Mitchell, they were out. We know what happened with the Wolves. Ant, he wasn't 100%. That was obvious. And they didn't have Io.
DiVincenzo.
and DiVincenzo. Io in and out. He wasn't 100% too. So there's that. So they're going to be finally taking a team that's 100% healthy. I mean, I know Mitchell Robinson's hurt, but he's going to play through it. It's a
Right.
pinky, so he'll be all right. He'll be all right. But yeah, so I think just the fact that the Spurs are finally going to get tested in that department should be interesting to see a fully 100% roster that they're going to have to take on now. So no excuses, no excuses. You got the Knicks are coming at 100%. Now we look back at the regular season, Rudy. The Knicks were one of the lone teams that had a winning record versus the Spurs. So if you include the Cup game, they were 2-1 versus San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
Are you buying stock in that or not?
Ooh. Uh, yes and no.
Okay.
Early part of the season, which was the cup, I'm not really buying that so much. The cup, I mean, to me, the cup is just the cup, and they ended up beating the Spurs 124-113 in that cup battle. But I look at the regular season matchup. The only time the Spurs won, they won by 2, 134-132, I believe, was the final score. That was in San Antonio, I believe, for that game. Knicks played them tough, man. They played them really, really tough in that game, and they showed why, they had the opportunity to be, in the NBA Finals. And if I'm not mistaken, that game was early December. I mean,
Mhm.
31st. So, still early in the season, both teams still trying to find their way. Mike Brown again was having a little bit of issues at that time with the Knicks, so that was a pretty big win for him over San Antonio. I mean, I'm sorry, the Spurs got that victory in San Antonio, but again, kept it really, really close. The one game that I do put a lot of credit into is that March 1st game where the Knicks kind of obliterated San Antonio 114-89. Again, we talked about Mikal Bridges. We talked about Karl Anthony Towns. The Knicks pretty much had their way with San Antonio. They didn't even have relinquished the lead in that game at all.
Yeah.
They led about, I think, 100% almost in that game right there. So that's the game I look at. Why? Because the Knicks started to become the team that we see them now. And it was towards the end of the season. Remember, it's not how you're playing during the season, it's how you're playing at the end of the season, heading into the playoffs. They were one of the better teams heading into the playoffs. And yeah, I mean, Mike Brown had them clicking on all cylinders at that time. If we're going to buy any stock, it's going to be in that March 1st game. Victor Wembanyama played, pretty much everybody played in that game, if I'm not mistaken. So the Spurs were still, trying to narrow through or navigate through a couple of things. It was in March. But again, remember, after that rodeo road trip and after the All-Star break, Spurs were probably, in fact, I mean, after January 1st, they were probably the best team or one of the best
Yeah.
teams in the league. So that game kind of exposed a little bit for San Antonio. But then again, you look at the playoffs, Jeff. I mean, Spurs have been more battle tested than
Mhm.
the New York Knicks have in these playoffs. It's going to be interesting to see because the Knicks haven't seen a foe like San Antonio in
Yeah.
these playoffs at all.
Yeah. I was asked this question by a friend of the show, Alex Torres over at Knicks Fans TV.
Mhm.
Um, do we take stock in this? And his answer was no, you don't. He said, well, look what happened to the Spurs and Thunder. The Spurs just ran over them in the regular season, but the Thunder came back at least in the playoff series and pushed them to Game 7.
Yeah.
I take a little stock in the regular season meetings because it took. I mean, think about this. It took a Julian Campani career night for the Spurs to beat the Knicks the one time. It took
Yeah.
that much to beat them. Now, granted, that Spurs team is a lot different than this Spurs team that we're seeing in the finals tonight. But I think for the Knicks, you kind of lean on that a little bit. Saying like, look, it took Champagny to go off on us. We smoked them in one regular season game, and we beat them in a playoff-ish like environment at the Cup.
Yeah.
That when I think the Spurs have the Knicks on mind, they're in the head because you saw that viral moment where Dylan Harper was on the stage at the Western Conference Finals Cup trophy presentation, I should say. And he says, "Oh, we got to pay them back. We got to get them back for the cup." So they're on their heads. So who knows if the psychological part of it is there? But no, I think that's more of just Harper looking for any type of motivation to get his teammates going for this series. But nevertheless, I take a little stock in it simply because I think that's what the Knicks are probably thinking. Like, hey, man, look, it wasn't Wemby, it wasn't Fox, it wasn't Castle, it wasn't Harper, it was Champagny. Needed heroics out of him to beat us. So there's that. So I'm going to leave that as that. So I'm taking a slight stock in that. Now, got to ask you something. It's a big question here because you hit on the head, Brunson, right? He's going to be a problem. And But as much as he can be a problem, I think the Spurs are, I'll use your words, battle tested when it comes to handling
Sure.
perimeter players of that ilk. Okay, sure. I mean, Ant wasn't 100%, but there still was Ant.
Mm-hmm.
To a certain degree, Denny, they kind of controlled Denny in the Blazers series, and they did a masterful job on SGA. But now we got Brunson. So we know he's likely going to be a problem. I'm not too worried about the defense on him, but I'll play a game with you right now. We know Brunson's going to be Brunson, and he's probably going to get his. But which player on the Knicks roster, not named Brunson, will you be looking out for as probably a problem?
That's a good question, man. Because I can go anywhere. I can go Jeremy Sohan. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing
Right.
now.
Hey, he's spilling the beans, man. He's
I can
spilling the
go.
beans on his former team.
I can go a lot of different ways. I mean, Pat can be a guy you can look at, but he's more obvious. Um, I'm gonna go. I've got to go with two guys because for me they're just about as equal. One of them is Mikal Bridges. I think
Okay.
if he gets going and he gets really hot, he can get to the basket, he can attack the rim, he can shoot the three ball, he can knock down, perimeter shots in general. He can play some pretty good stellar defense. So I think if Mikal Bridges gets going and continues to stay hot for the Knicks, it's going to pose a little bit of a threat. Why?
Yeah.
Uh, I fully expect Julian Champagny to maybe
Mhm.
defend him, which again, Julian's done a masterful job in the especially the last series as being a defender. He can defend and he shows that he can defend. He was matched up with SGA a couple of times in that last series and he did a really good job on SGA. But again, I think with Mikal Bridges, he constantly moves. He constantly gets to the basket. Every now and then you'll see like, why is Mikal open? Because he just literally moves a lot for the
Right.
Knicks. I think Mikal Bridges can pose a little bit of a problem. The other guy is Josh Hart, man. When Josh Hart is cold, the Knicks can struggle. But when he's knocking down that three ball and he's getting, to the rim, it
Oh, yeah.
poses a lot of issues for any team, not just San Antonio. So it's almost like the New York Knicks the guards and even their small forwards, they can be real pests for any team if they get going. And what does that do? Is that takes the eyes off of Brunson, that takes the eyes off of Cat. So if these guys get going and they can make it very difficult for San Antonio, you could possibly see some guys getting in foul trouble for San Antonio if these guys get going as well. I like to highlight OG Anunoby as well because man,
Yes.
he can definitely be a problem outside of Brunson and Cat, but for me, I know you're probably going to go OG, but for me, it's probably going to be Mikal Bridges and then Josh Hart as well, because those
Okay.
two guys, I mean, especially Mikal, if he gets going, you could probably see the Knicks steal a couple of games here.
I'm not going to go with OG as much as he's on my short list, though. I'm actually going with the hometown kid, Jordan Clarkson.
Yes,
What
very.
is up with him when he faces his hometown team? Seriously, he's born in San Antonio, grew up in San Antonio, but when he goes on and puts on any uniform throughout his career, he smokes his San Antonio team. Now, I got the numbers here. Why
Okay.
I'm picking him as a player to watch on the Knicks side first, if the Spurs are scouting, and because we know the Spurs are watching us right now. And Jeff and Rudy said this about this Knicks player. Let's mark that down. But all kidding aside, throughout Jordan Clarkson's career, in 31 regular season games, he's averaging 16.7 points per game, 3.7 rebounds, and 3.1 assists. All right, so let's break that down a little further. When he plays the Spurs in San Antonio, he ups his game. For his career, he's averaging in San Antonio 19 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 3.3 assists in 15 career road games in San Antonio. All right, so now let's look over his last 10 games versus the Spurs. In his last 10 games versus the Spurs, he's averaging 17.4 points per game, 4.4 rebounds, and 4.1 assists, including his heroics in the Cup. Remember, it was Jordan Clarkson that pushed the Knicks over the hump to get the Cup title. Not Cat, not Brunson, not Hart. It was Jordan Clarkson. I'm picking Jordan Clarkson as the one Knick player that could be a problem for the Spurs. Hey, we're not done talking about Spurs and Knicks. Game 1, NBA Finals. When we get back, we're going to look at the Spurs side now. What player not named Wemby should be stepping up? We got so much more, including is this going to be a battle of stars or is it going to be a battle of role players? So much more coming up right next here on Spurs in Focus. Okay, Rudy, see, I went with Daredevil because, New York, he's in Hell's Kitchen. So
Probably you're picking the Knicks.
all
I'm
come
sure.
together.
Come on.
And I mean, all things come together. We are back right here on Spurs in Focus, previewing tonight's Game 1 NBA Final, your Spurs, Knicks, 1999. Let's run it back. Who will win it all? Will it be the Spurs going 2-0 versus the Knicks in the NBA Finals, or will the Knicks get the split? Well, that's for later on this week, and the finals are just beginning. So sticking with Game 1, though. So before the break, we asked the question, who not named Brunson on the Knicks side should Spurs be watching out for? Right? Rudy gave me his answers. I gave you my answers. Now let's flip it now. So, Rudy, what player on the Spurs roster not named Wemby do you want to see stepping up in Game 1?
That's kind of easy for me. I'm not going to go with the obvious Fox or
Yeah.
Harper. It's Devin Vassell. I
Ooh,
mean,
interesting.
Devin Vassell he's going to be a really big focal point for this San Antonio team. You know what you're going to get out of Fox. You know what you're going to get out of Wemby, Harper, and Castle. I mean, they've been, playing really well, especially against OKC. But remember, Devin's been that guy that we've been talking about that has kind of quietly been a motivational, been a emotional, been a, really key point to San Antonio. Remember, it's those key shots that he makes in vital points, knocking down a three, getting to the basket. It's defensively his long arms. He's been able to get blocks off of, just about what every center. He blocked Klingon, he blocked
Mhm.
Chad. I mean, he's doing what you want Devin to do, and he's doing the little things that are allowing the stars, Victor, Harper, Castle, Fox, everybody else, to just shine a lot more. And he doesn't get enough credit that I think a lot of fans should give him, is that he's gonna be a really big point and a really big issue for the Spurs when it comes to the Knicks. He's that guy where I talked about with Mikal Bridges on New York side. He plays the
Mhm.
same vital piece for San Antonio, for the Spurs. He's got to score. Maybe I think he averages between 12 to 15 a game. Just provides that hard nosed defense. That's where I think he's going to be the difference in this series. If that he can continue to play the way he's done against Minnesota, the way he's done against Oklahoma City, San Antonio could run away with this series if Devin Vassell is
Mhm.
probably that low key, not necessarily second option, but that one guy that, hey, when the Spurs go flat, you go to Devin and he knocks down a three. Boom, there goes
Mhm.
that whole, roller coaster ride. They're going back up again. So for me, it's Devin Vassell, Jeff. I think if he knocks down two threes roughly in a game, there's no way the Spurs lose.
Well, Devin Vassell in his career, 6 games versus New York, he's averaging 11.3 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, and 3.3 assists. So pretty good numbers. And you look at some recent numbers. He did score 18 points in the March meeting, March 1, 2026, 18 points. He scored 23 on them. That's his career high versus the Knicks in 2024. So he puts up good numbers there, and that's a good pick. I think that's a real good pick because Devin is key. We saw how key he was throughout this playoff run for the Spurs. He's going to be about to be key for the Spurs in the NBA Finals. Wow, I can't believe I'm saying that. As Spurs in the NBA Finals
I
after what
expect to
since
say that next year, not this year.
right?
That was me.
Yeah, exactly. For me, I'm gonna go with this guy, Keldon Johnson. I need Keldon to be the sixth man of the year that he is. I need Keldon to be early year Keldon in his career in San Antonio, getting close to 20 points per game. Now, I know he's not going to do that, but you look at his career averages versus the Knicks 12.6 points per game, 5.0 rebounds, and 1.9 assists in 11 career games versus the Spurs. He dropped a career high versus the Knicks. Now, that granted is back in 2022, 30 points. But nevertheless, I need him to bolster that second unit because for the most part, he's been MIA in this playoff run for the Spurs. Now, he came alive when it mattered in game 6 and 7 versus the Thunder, but I need that to be more consistent. I need him to be that another problem, another headache for the Knicks to have to scheme against, deal with, because I don't know if I'm stretching it here, Rudy, but I think the Spurs are a deeper team than the Knicks. And this guy you see on your screen is a big part of that. Your thoughts?
The addition of Jose Alvarado gives the Knicks, a much deeper roster than we give them credit for.
Mhm.
Uh, but I do think you're right on that sense that the Spurs probably have a deeper roster, especially heading into the playoffs where everybody's playing. Your
Mhm.
Keldon Johnson pick, didn't I didn't highlight him only because 19-3-3. Those are his numbers this year against the Knicks. He only had one game in double digits. Two of the games, including the cup game, I believe he scored only 3 points in those
Mhm.
games. So this I couldn't highlight him, Jeff, only because it reminds me of the Portland series, and everybody was kind of giving him flack against Portland. Where's the sixth man of the year? Why is he doing
Well, like I said, he's been MIA for a good chunk of the playoff run.
Well, remember, it's about matchups. He doesn't seem to match up very well against the Knicks, and that's something that you may want to go into the series thinking, is he going to be able to match up with New York? Is he going to struggle? All signs kind of point to him struggling against the Knicks. Could it be because, again, the 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 guard play that we talked about, small forward play, OG Anunoby, a lot of these guys, they make it tough for guys to get to the basket, to get to the rim.
Yeah.
They almost force you to be a jump shooting team, something that Keldon can do. But what we all know is Keldon likes to get to the basket. He likes to put his head down, get to the rim, dunk the ball, get a layup and one. And that's something that he may struggle with. So for me, Keldon Johnson is a great pick, but do we kind of expect him to kind of go the way that we've seen him in these playoffs, and especially against the Knicks, where he's only had one good game against New York? The rest of
Yeah.
the been 3 points and 3 points, and that's kind of what we've been seeing from the playoffs. Nonetheless, I do think he does play pretty good in the
Yeah.
final series. But expectations, I think, kind of got to be a little settled and a little mid for him going into this series. I hope he really does come out playing
Yeah.
and just the way he did against, Minnesota, and a little bit of the way he did against OKC there, especially in game 7. He was really great in game 7. Hopefully he takes that momentum into the finals.
You know, we all know what his bread and butter is: getting to the rim, getting to the lane, getting. You see it on your screen right now. There's a photo of him doing that against Cat.
Yeah.
But I think we're not giving him enough credit throughout this playoff run. Sure, he's not averaging the double figures that we saw during the regular season. Right now, he's averaging 8.7 points per game in the playoffs and 3.4 rebounds. But he is averaging 36% shooting from the three line. All right. So he's not horrible. And for his standard, that's pretty good. So if he can get that three shot falling, as we've been seeing throughout this playoff run, I mean, obviously he's not a volume shooter. I get that. But he is making them when he does take them. I think that'll be key for San Antonio. I don't know if we're ignoring the obvious. Is it really Julian Champagnie, who is the freaking guy that needs to step up? Because we all know when Champagnie is rolling from the three line, this team is hard to beat.
Does he struggle against the Knicks? I mean, not. I'm not going. Let me go by his numbers in the past. In the Cup game,
Sure.
he had 3 points in the Cup game. He had 36 points in that game in San Antonio where you
Yeah.
mentioned he was like key.
Yeah.
And he also had 3 points in the last game, almost as similar to Keldon. I mean, he had 3 points in two of those three games. Um, could it be a matchup thing for Julian? I mean, we mentioned Josh Hart, we mentioned Mikal. These guys, let me ask you, are they better defenders than what he saw in OKC?
I think, yes, I think they are.
They're probably
Yeah.
a little bit better,
Yeah.
slightly better than what we saw against OKC.
Mhm.
So do we expect him to get more open looks? Probably not. I mean, he shot 1 of 4 from 3-point range in that 36-point game that he had. He was 11 for 17, 11 3-pointers made.
Yeah.
You can kind of hope you get half of that from Julian, maybe 4 to 5
Mhm.
3-pointers made. That would be really good. But again, that was back in December 31st when this Knicks team was not rolling the way that it was now,
Yeah.
especially defensively. So, good thing. I mean, again, it's like one of those things where you highlight Julian Champagnie as a guy that can be a difference maker that, should be able to come out and knock down the three. Well, yeah, he's playing well in the playoffs, but again, it's a different Knicks team. So
Mhm.
I think the Knicks guards and almost similar to, I guess what we can think about when it came to Minnesota, their defense was a lot better than what we saw in
Right.
OKC. And what do we expect from Julian? We expect to maybe average what 10 points, maybe 11 points would be good enough from Julian in this playing game.
As long as he's knocking down those outside shots, I don't care if they're inside the 3 line, obviously better for outside, but as long as he's spreading the floor consistently, that's the key word, consistently in this series, I'll take it. I'll take it. Well, I heard your true shooting percentage is about 90%. Is that true, Rudy?
From the free throw line, yes, I was able to shoot 90+%. From the field, not so much.
I knew it. Darn. I was going to draft you number 1 overall in the 6 NBA draft.
Fun fact: I've only had one game in my career where I scored double digits.
What? I find that so hard to believe.
I scored 23 points one time. After that, I mean, I maybe had like 10, 12 points from here and there. I mean, I'm talking about a really good game. I was a point guard, man. I hated to shoot. I hated to shoot. I was, I was more passing the ball, and I like to get my teammates involved. So
yeah,
that's all.
All right. Let's continue our game 1 NBA Finals preview, Spurs Knicks. And the next question I got up here, I see on the rundown here. Rudy, is this going to be a battle of superstars to carry either side's team to the win in game 1 or throughout the series, Wemby versus Brunson? Or is this really a battle of the role players? Where do you stand on this?
Battle of superstars. I mean, this is the NBA Finals. This is where these guys they go from stars to superstars to legends of the game. It's on this kind of stage right now. So Brunson versus Wemby, Cat's going to be in there, Castle. I mean, when you're talking about superstars, you're literally talking about San Antonio right now heading into the playoffs with Wemby. Obviously, third in MVP voting. Brunson is definitely an MVP candidate every single year. NBA Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, all NBA teams for a few of these guys. It's a battle of the superstars, man. It's going to fall on their shoulders. If this series goes one way, it's going to be because these guys showed up and showed out. That's all it's going to come down to. Yeah, the bench and the reserves are going to be, very key on some of these games, but this is where, you and I talked about when they're playing 35, 36 minutes a game in the playoffs, and it's like, can't really do that. This is where you kind of expect the 32, 33, 34 minutes for starters, maybe minimal rest for these guys. So it's 100% battle of the superstars. We know what's at stake for Wemby. He's very young, getting to the finals pretty young is big time for him. Brunson getting to the finals, Cat getting to the finals. I mean, this stage is set. It's New York. You know all about New York. I mean, there's no bigger stage in basketball than Madison Square Garden. So it's all about the superstars. Role players, love you guys, but you're going to continue to be the role players in this series. It's going to be about the superstars.
I'm going to go with the battle of role players. I really think it is. Either your Brunson or your Wemby, you're going to need your teammates' help. And which team is deeper, which team is going to have those players to step up. You look at throughout history, Jordan, he needed Kerr to knock down a key shot in the finals.
Sure.
Olajuwon needed Kenny Smith, Vernon Maxwell to rise up their game in the finals. The list goes on and on and on. And just look at the Spurs. The Spurs needed guys like Danny Ferry, Steve Kerr, Steven Jackson in big time games. So I'm going to say it's a battle of reserves, and we got a lot of good ones. And for me, I think it's even, if we want to focus it more, I'm as much as I want to say Wemby needs to do this and that, and it's all Wemby. Again, go look at yesterday's Spurs in Focus show with our Knicks reporter, Alex Torres. He actually said, Rudy, he goes, that the Knicks fan base, the Knicks media there and the Big Apple, they know Wemby's going to Wemby. They know that. You know who they're really fearing? This guy. You know who else they're really fearing? Dylan Harper. You know who else they're fearing as well? De'Aaron Fox. They said those three guys are putting a little scare in the Knicks fan base. It's like they already surrendered to Wemby. Wemby's going to do his, there's all you can do is just hopefully he has a bad game. But he said it's the trio of guards that really is going to present a problem for the Spurs. So I'm looking at, since technically Castle, Fox, and Harper are role players to Wemby, I'm going to go with the role players.
I'd tough to call them role players though, man. I mean, that's what I'm
No, but
saying.
by
If you're gonna
definition, they are.
if you're gonna expand it and say, well, role players, and yeah, I would have said role players because there's a lot of different guys there.
Yeah.
But if we're saying superstars as in just Wemby and Brunson,
But
I get that.
but can we say that Harper, Fox, and Castle are superstars? I don't think so. They're
Damn
good
near.
players.
I mean, damn near.
They're you do have an all-star with Fox, yes, a one-time all-star, but Castle's not an all-star. Harper's a rookie. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're
Yeah.
saying. I understand that. I understand. You're probably looking deeper, like Kelly.
Yeah. I mean, for me, role player would be Keldon, would be Luke Cornett. I mean, Jose Alvarado, Landry Shamet is a guy that I do not want to see get hot.
By the way, I don't think Shamat has played against the Spurs this season. I could be wrong.
He did. He played against them in the Cup series. I think he had like 7. Oh no, in the final game of March 1st, he played. He had 7 points in that game. He could get really hot, really fast.
But he's catching fire at the right time for this next team. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But going back to the superstar thing, I mean, these guys, yeah, you're not going to consider them superstars, but you can't. There's a difference between superstar, stars, role players. They're in that stars. Castle and Harper are, right on that superstar edge right now. Karl Anthony Towns can considered maybe a superstar level in the Eastern Conference.
I see that, yeah.
So, I mean, there's so many guys, and this is what I'm saying. The stars are going to shine in New York more than the actual role players.
Okay.
But if you want to consider, these guys role players, I'm not going to argue with that.
Who would you throw in Jordan Clarkson, as I picked as a player to watch with the Knicks as a role player, even though he torches the Spurs?
Yes. I mean, he's a role player. I mean, these guys, what Clarkson does is, he torches the Spurs, but these guys that we're talking Castle and everybody else, they torch more than just the Knicks. They torch a lot of other teams. Yeah. So it makes it difficult for them. That's where I consider them, not so much superstar, but right with that fringe superstar.
All right. Fair enough. All right. All right. Let's get to it, man. We've kind of been dancing around it, but Rudy, what are your key matchups?
Key matchups. I think I took this last series. I'm going to take this series again. It's guards versus guards. You've got the Knicks, obviously, when we talked about Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart. And they've also got who we mentioned, Shamet. They got Alvarado and Jordan Clarkson. These teams go really, really 5 players, maybe 6 players deep in the guard position. Spurs, their trio of guards. You can maybe throw in Champagne as well in there. So who has the better guards and who gets better guard play? That's my bet. That's my matchup for this series right here. Brunson gets going. You're going to need one of your guys to kind of step up and match him and maybe make it difficult. It's going to be a 3-way battle when it comes to Brunson. All these guys got to be able to step up, similar to what you did with SGA in that last. You only had him go off for, I think 30 points twice, but one of those was kind of like shouldn't have been 30-point type of game. Do you need that same type of performance on the defensive side from your guards against Brunson? Will you stop Brunson the way you did SGA? Probably not. Jalen Brunson is a more craftier scorer, especially now, the way he's playing in these playoffs. I think he's a tougher matchup for San Antonio. He's going to present a lot of problems. Where, SGA, we knew what we were getting with Brunson. You're kind of getting a little bit more in the bag from him. So the guard matchup for me is going to be the biggest battle between both teams. If the Spurs can attack the rim, kind of what they've been doing in these playoffs and what they do in the season, Dylan Harper gets to the rim, Stephon Castle gets to the rim. They're going to draw a lot of fouls on these guys. So that's where it lays with me. Like you said, Wemby's going to Wemby. Karl Anthony Towns is going to get his. I think Wemby may dominate that position a little bit more over Cat. It's going to land the guards, man. If these guards can continue to play the way they did, especially against OKC, it's going to be tough for the Knicks. But again, don't forget the Knicks are a really good defensive team, even on the perimeter. It lays in guard versus guards. I'm going to go with that same matchup as I did last series.
I'm leaving Brunson's photo on there on purpose, everybody, because I'm going with my pick, which is involving Brunson and Castle. That's the matchup I'm watching. We know that Castle is probably going to get the assignment to try to slow down that guy, number 11, who's just, I don't know how he does it, but he scores almost at will versus the Spurs. Really, didn't he drop like 60 something on the Spurs that game where Wemby threw the ball into the stands?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to go with Harper versus Brunson. Now, I know they're probably going to throw different looks at Brunson throughout the series, but again, like I said, we know the primary assignment is going to be on Castle. I think Castle's going to be coming in raring to go. Think about it. Castle's had to check guys like Danny Osria in this playoff run, Ant, SGA. So he's like that scene in Predator where Danny Glover at the end just defeated one major predator, and then a bunch of other predators showed up, and he looks around the spaceship and he goes, "All right, who's next?" I think that's what you got here. That's what Castle's probably thinking right now. All right, who's next? Brunson. Okay, bring it on. I'm gonna go with Castle versus Brunson. You got Brunson, crafty, swift, can score, get into the paint, knock down the outside shot, and unlike SGA and maybe Cat, this guy he's not gonna take a play off. He won't. He will attack and be relentless. Not to say that SGA wasn't, but we really didn't see SGA be SGA until maybe game 7 when it really was a little too late.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Castle versus Brunson. Your thoughts, Rudy?
No, I love that matchup, man. I mean, Castle's been able to guard the best teams, the best players on each and every team they've played in the playoffs. And this is going to probably be, like you said, probably one of his toughest matchups right here. Jalen Brunson, so crafty, as we mentioned. I mean, not afraid to score, not afraid to get to the basket. Um, I want to say that it's gonna, like I said, it's probably gonna have to be Castle and maybe De'Aaron Fox
Are
to
you saying by committee at some point?
it's
Like,
gotta be by yeah, it's
yeah.
gotta be by committee. We saw it kind of with OKC with SGA. It's gonna have to kind of be the same thing. What you don't want to do is you don't want to overextend and overwork Castle on the defensive side. You want to be able to save him for that offensive side as well. So that's where a guy like Dylan Harper or Fox, maybe Julian or even Devin are going to come in, maybe grab Brunson for a little bit here to kind of give Castle that break on defense. I mean, because man, Brunson, he can dribble the air out of the ball, but he's not SGA. Once he dribbles the air out of that ball, he's going to score. If you give him any type of, sunshine, he's going to score, man. He's going to find the light and get to the basket. So, love the matchup. I think ultimately, Jeff, it's probably going to be a push. I think Brunson,
Really?
or I think Castle would get his moments where he's going to be able to make it tough for Brunson. But I really think it's a push. Both guys are relentless on both sides of the ball. So if we're talking Brunson's offense to find Castle's defense, I would say it's probably going to be a push, man. He's going to score. Castle's going to stop him from time to time. It's gonna be a great matchup.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. By the way, before we start wrapping things up here, are you factoring in strength of schedule, or should I say strength of playoff schedule? Because the
Yes.
Knicks 4-1 versus the Hawks, the Hawks were probably their biggest challenge. Other than that, they smoked Cleveland, they smoked Philly,
There.
and they're on an 11-game winning streak. While the Spurs had to deal with the defending champs to 7. Back-to-back Western Conference Finals appearances, Minnesota Timberwolves to 6, and an upstart Portland team that's on the rise.
There.
Does that matter or not?
Absolutely, it matters. They had the toughest path to the NBA Finals. Then full disclosure, I had the Hawks beating the Knicks in the first round. I mean, I really did.
Sure.
But the Knicks, they've come out, they beat the Hawks, which was their toughest opponent. They steamrolled through Toronto, they steamrolled through Cleveland, and they got to the NBA Finals. Strength of schedule, playoff wise, Cleveland is a really talented team. A lot of people had Cleveland beating the Knicks in that series. They were able to just basically dismantle Cleveland, especially after getting down by 22 in that first game. They came back and won game 1. So when you look at strength of schedule, that's where I said when it comes down to being battle tested in the playoffs, the San Antonio Spurs have been battle tested. A scrappy Portland team in that first round series. That alone was a good test for San Antonio. Then going up against Minnesota, we knew the kind of battle that was going to be for them. And then to end it with 7 games against OKC. Spurs, they've got everything going in their favor when it comes to playoff matchups. I really, really feel that it's made them grow. It's helped them a lot more.
Yeah.
It's gotten them ready for this stage right here. There's really nothing more left for them to do than continue to play that they have been in these playoffs. And they're going to give the Knicks a lot of trouble. But let's not forget, there's a key thing that a lot of people don't realize. When the Knicks were, playoff runs in previous years, Tom Thibodeau was running his starters into the ground. The Knicks aren't playing very many minutes this year as far as their starters. Mike Brown has done a wonderful and masterful job coaching these guys. his guys are well rested. So I factored that in. Playoff schedule. Spurs have the benefit of being battle tested, but no one complains when you get in rest, especially New York side. Rest upon rest, it gives you, fresh legs, and
Yeah.
it's going to be fun to see game one, man.
Although we did see the Knicks struggle against the Cavs when they were on a long break before their final series.
Down 22. Yeah, then
They're
they
down
bounced back.
22, and it took a heroics for them to do that. So maybe there could be a little rust factor for these
Yeah.
Knicks. Again, we saw a little evidence of that versus the Cavs, but they woke up quick and net that. I mean, I was watching that game. That was what instant classic. I was on the edge of my seat. By the way, I was been asked where my loyalties lie because y'all remember I spent 20 years in New York City, lived in Queens, lived in Bronx, lived in
You can say
Manhattan.
the Knicks. It's okay.
I'm not going to say the Knicks. They're my second favorite NBA team right after the Spurs.
Mhm.
So, but I'm going with the hometown team, everybody. All right, let's get down to it. Woo. Here we go. Rudy, game one predictions. What are the keys for a Spurs win you're looking at?
Whew. So keys for the Spurs game is you just got to body Brunson. You got to body everybody. Keep that same momentum that you have from OKC, especially that big win in game 7. Keep the same momentum, keep the same drive coming into game 1.
Yeah.
You're not gonna stop Jalen Brunson. If you do, it's probably because he's having a very bad shooting night.
Yeah.
Just make it tough for him. The way you did to SJ in this last series, just make it tough. Make him work. Be sure to not allow these other guys. Don't focus so much on Jalen Brunson until you forget about, the other guys, Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart, who we mentioned. Uh, but also, this is the biggest key, and it's not just for game 1, Jeff. It's for every single game.
Mm-hmm.
When you get Wemby going early, you are a very tough team to beat. You've got to make sure that you've got Victor Wembanyama off to a very fast start in every game, not just game 1. When he gets going, you start to see a little bit of panic from the other side because you don't know what to do. We'll let him get his 20 in the first half or whatever. It's not that easy. When he gets going, it's tough to defend him. Other guys get more motivated around him. Other guys start playing very well around him. So biggest factors are make it tough for Brunson. You're not going to stop him. Just, you hope to contain him.
Sure.
And then also have Wemby get going. My final prediction for game 1, I do think the Knicks fall a little bit short. Not a little bit short, but I think they kind of go down early. Spurs get off to a very fast start. The rust does play a little bit into the factor. Will they get down 22? I don't know. But if they get down by double digits, it's very hard to make a comeback against a very good defensive team like San Antonio. I have the Spurs actually winning. I'm going to go 114, maybe 104.
All right. Well, you're on line with the Corgi. The Corgi predicted the Spurs get game.
I have yet to see that. If I shared that on X, I probably did it unknowingly. I haven't seen it. But I don't know what the Corgi picked.
Yesterday, that Corgi, I guess, is a reincarnation of Nostradamus, has Spurs winning game 1. So there's that. All right, let me give you my keys to a Spurs win and prediction. You nailed it on the head. Contain Brunson. Do the best you can. The Spurs, they have a triple-headed snake in the guard spot. The Knicks really just got a one-headed snake in Mr. Brunson. So try to slow him down. I know it's easier said than done, but do your best. Control the boards. That's something very interesting there. I think rebounding would be a big factor for this series coming up. And I got some numbers here, everybody. You're looking at rebounding throughout the series. It's the Spurs that are currently first in the playoffs at 47.3 rebounds per game, while the Knicks are fourth in the playoffs at 45.1 rebounds per game. Now, interesting enough, when it comes to defensive rebounding, it's almost a push.
Yeah.
The Spurs at 35.2 defensive rebounding, while the Knicks are 34.4. So keep that in mind throughout this series. I'm going to go with rebounding. And also, too, offensive rebounding is almost a push as well. Spurs are fourth in the playoffs at 12.1, while the Knicks are 10.7, 12th in the NBA playoffs at, again, 10.7 rebounds, offensive rebounds per game. So keep an eye on that. And again, we hit it in the head, ball movement. You got to clog up the lanes, make those entry passes difficult, cut off passing lanes, because we highlighted Knicks ball movement is number 1 in the postseason throughout their postseason run. With that, I'm going to go with Spurs winning by 5. I got it 100, 105, 100 to 100. I think it's going to be a slugfest. I think for today's NBA standards, scoring a little over 100 is like the 90s style. That's it. So I think these two are defensive-minded teams. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a grind, but I got the Spurs winning game 1, 105-100. All right, we're done talking. We want to hear from you. Where do you stand? You throw out the window that regular season winning record the Knicks had over the Spurs. What is your key matchup? Is this a battle of the stars or a battle of the role players? Let us know. We need to hear from you. Let Rudy know on X at The Sports Answer. Let me know on X at Jeff G Spurs Zone. Rudy, I know you guys at The Answer are going to be busy, aren't y'all?
Absolutely, man. Derek Gervin and myself will be breaking down all the stuff on the Friday Drive edition of the Sports Answer, and that'll be game 2. So we're gonna break down game 1, get you ready for game 2 on Friday night. A lot of NBA talk. Plus, I mean, I know this is an NBA show, Jeff, but Jesus Christ, the NFL just got turned upside down. We're gonna have to get into that.
That is a huge deal, man.
There's actually 2 huge deals with Myles Garrett going to the Rams and AJ Brown finally going to the New England Patriots. So we'll get into all that. But again, your NBA coverage, you get it from Spurs in Focus. You also get it from the Friday Drive, 2 of the best and probably the only 2 you should ever listen to are the Friday Drive and Spurs in Focus when it comes to Spurs and NBA basketball.
That's right. Yeah. You want to follow Rudy on X at The Sports Answer. That's probably the best way to catch up on everything that's going on at The Answer. And Rudy, I think we might be back later tonight, maybe.
Probably. More than likely. I think we have to do another post-game show.
Post-game.
Probably the best post-game show in town. I'll not even probably. I think it is.
Yeah, we even get Austin fans coming in. Austin. Yeah,
Austin, New York fans. We got a bunch of California guys. Everybody's coming.
Right. Yeah, so coming in after the game. I'm nervous. I know Rudy's got excited.
I'm not nervous. I am not nervous.
I'm a little nervous. I just want them to come out swinging. Like, think about it too. In the last few games,
come on,
who has been the aggressor? It's been the Spurs.
It has.
At least this is the Thunder series.
Well, I get why you're nervous. Man, Spurs fans, you're gonna kill me. I'm sorry about this.
Here we go. Rudy.
Hey, yeah, I'm not nervous because I'm a Spurs fan, but as a guy that covers the NBA and that's followed it forever, and broke it down forever, I'm just glad because this is probably the best finals matchup we've seen in quite some time. I mean, there's no right or wrong in this NBA title. I mean, if the Knicks win, you're happy for New York. You're probably going to see New York go on the biggest freaking, riot you've ever seen.
He said a riot.
But I mean, you're talking what they haven't won since the 60s, the 70s, an NBA title. Walt Frazier. So I mean, it'd be good to see New York, the basketball capital of the world, MSG. I mean, the Mecca. It's great for that. But also as a Spurs fan, if the Spurs win, you start to bring in that new era, that new dynasty that we've always, thought we would never see again after Tim Duncan. So it's almost like a win-win for basketball fans out there. Yes, I'm nervous because I would love the Spurs to win. I really want the Spurs to win. But at the end of the day, I can breathe a sigh of relief and say, you know what? This is probably going to be a damn good NBA Finals.
We shall see. Game 1 is tonight in San Antonio at the Frost. Spurs, Knicks. Remember, the tip-off is at 7:30 Central. Okay, so keep that in mind. A little earlier than the conference finals.
In San Antonio, by the way.
Yes, in San Antonio. Yes. So, by the way, again, if you want to hear the Knicks perspective on the Spurs, go back to yesterday's Spurs in Focus. Again, our good friend here, Alex Stratoris with Knicks Fans TV, he broke it all down for us. Yeah, and he also goes into deeper dive why the Knicks fan base actually feared the Spurs 3-headed guard monster versus Wemby. Go find that out and get you completely primed for game 1 that's happening later on tonight. Well, with that, again, we thank you for making Spurs in Focus your first and only spot for all things San Antonio Spurs. This should be your first spot, not anywhere else to see on YouTube or on the internet. You want to come here. Unsubscribe to those. Subscribe here at Spurs in Focus. And don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcasts. YouTube Music, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts. The list goes on and on. Spurs in Focus Substack is completely free. Sign up right now. Just Google Spurs in Focus Substack. You'll find me. Hit subscribe, and you're in. You're part of the crew. So with that, go Spurs, go. Good luck tonight, game 1. So for Mr. Rudy Campos, I am Jeff Garcia. Well, now you're in focus with Spurs in Focus.